Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back. Today's Daf is Kesubos Samach Gimel. We are holding on Samach Beis Amud Beis, 4 lines from the bottom. Here comes the famous story of Rabbi Akiva with Kalba Savua. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Akiva was a shepherd, a Ra'aya, the Ben Kalba Savua, that was his name. So his boss was Ben Kalba Savua, Hava. So he was a shepherd of Kalba Savua. Rashi here explains, Kalba Savua, how did he get that name? 3 lines from the bottom, says Rashi, Shem Echad Me'ashirei Yerushalayim. So he was actually one of the wealthy fellows in Yerushalayim. And how did he get the name? Because Kol HaNichnas LeBeisoi Ro'iv Kekelev, you go into his house as hungry as a kelev, as a dog, Hayetze Saveh, he would go out full and satiated. So it's Kalba, which turns into Sabua. Chazite Barte, says the Gemara. Kalba Savua's daughter notices, pays attention, that this shepherd was Tsanua, humble, discreet, good midas, umali. He had good midas and he had good potential. She saw that in him. Amrle, so she tells him, look, let's strike a deal. Suppose I get engaged to you. Azlas Lebeirav, will you go to learn in yeshiva? Amrullah, he responds in, certainly. Ikachale Bitsina. So she indeed proceeded, gets engaged to him discreetly, quietly, out of earshot, so that her father doesn't know about this. Vishadarte, she sends him off to the yeshiva. She knew that a wife who encourages her husband to learn Torah gets a great schus, gets an equal share in his Torah. What better opportunity than taking somebody who's totally unlearned and influencing him to the point that he'll become a Talmud Chacham. What a schus, what an eternal portion of Ilm Haba. Shama Avua, her father hears about this unlikely match. Abkami Beise, he sends her out of his home. Adra Hana'a Minichse. On top of that, he makes a neder, a vow. Disengage from my property, from my assets. You can't benefit from me. Okay, what happened? Ozil, Rabbi Akiva went. At that point, his name was Akiva. Yasiv etreis reishnin b'berav. He spent 12 years in the Beis HaMedrash. Ki asa, when he returned, Aisi ba'adei. What did he bring with him? Treis rei, 12, alf, 1,000, 12,000 talmidi. He's approaching his home, and he overhears a conversation between his wife and some older fellow. Shame, he overhears Lahu Saba, this older fellow, speaking to his wife. The Ka'amala is telling her, Ad, come, until when? Kab Madbris, will you conduct yourself? Will you live this type of lifestyle? Almanus Chayus, like a living widow. Poor woman, look what you're going through. Amrle responds to him with pride. Ilididi, Tzayis, if only he would listen to me. Yosef, he would linger on. Trei, Sri, Shni Achrini, another additional 12 years. Amar, Rabbi Akiva, hearing this, says to himself, look, I'm not going to interrupt my studies, I'm going to just go right back. So it's one continuous experience. He says, look, I'm doing this with permission. I have the green light. Go ahead. Hadar, he went again. Azal, he repeated. He went to the yeshiva. Azal Yasser Trei Srei Shneachni. Another 12 years. Bibi Rav in the yeshiva. So the Mefarshim explained the first 12 years was in keeping with the marriage agreement. So there's a little bit of a shaloi l'shma, a little bit of a ulterior motive there. But the second 12 years were totally for Hashem's sake. So he wanted to redo it. Right. 100%. So he learns another 12 years. Ki asa, this time when he returns, I see Bade, he brings along with him Esrim, V'arbo Alfe Talmidi, 24, it doubled, 24,000 Talmid. Shama Dvisu. So his wife hears that he's coming back. Havas konavka lapei, she's going out to greet him. Amrula shivavasa, so her friends, her neighbors tell her, you have to dress up. She'ili mani, you should borrow some clothing. Lavash v'iksayi, to dress yourself and cover yourself. Amrulu, she tells them, look, there's no need to impress. A righteous person understands the soul of his animal, meaning he understands what I went through for his sake. I deprived myself for his Torah. He'll fully appreciate what I am the way I am. When she comes close to him, nafla alapa, she goes down on her face. She kisses his foot. Lo shamis, so his shamas, his attendants, were pushing her away. Amar lo. Rabbi Akiva, noticing his wife, tells them, leave her alone, shafkua, let her be. Shali, all my learning, v'shalachem, all your Torah as well. You know in whose credit that is? Shalahu, it's hers. Shama avua. So now her father, Kalba Savua, hears Dasa Gavra Rabba Lamasa, that a great Talmud Chacham arrived in town. Amar, he figures, Ezel Gabe, let me go ask him. Let me go approach him. I want to do something about the nether. Apparently he regretted having disenfranchised his own daughter. So he says, Efshar de Mefer Nidroi, maybe he can find some sort of way out of my nether. Asal Gabe approaches Rabbi Akiva, not knowing that he's his son-in-law. Amar Lei. So after he presented his dilemma, Rabbi Akiva responds. Let me ask you a question. Adata de Gavra Rabba, Minadras, when you made that nether way back, did you have in mind, even if your son-in-law turns out to become a big Talmud Chacham, would you want to keep your nether in that situation? Amar Lei, so Kalba Savo responds, of course not. Afilu perak echad, even if he only learns one perak, that would change my mind. Afilu halacha achas, one halacha. Certainly if he's a Talmud Chacham, of course, that's not what I had in mind. Amar Lei, so Rabbi Akiva responds, guess what? You got it. Anahu. Your son-in-law. That's me. Wow. Nafal al pei. So he went down on his face. V'nashke al kari, kissed him on his feet. V'yavle palgam amoinei, and he gave him half his wealth. Barti de Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva's own daughter, of the Leila ben Azai Hachi. She did the same arrangement with Ben Azai, sent him to yeshiva for 12 years. Some add it was against her father's, his father's wishes. This time it was his father who opposed. But they arranged it amongst themselves, and he went to the yeshiva. Of the Leila ben Azai Hachi. And this is perfectly in sync with the commonly used phrase, Rechela basa Rechela azla. A female sheep follows in the footsteps of her mother, the female sheep. Marshall says it's a sort of a play on names because Rabbi Akiva's wife's name was Rachel. So it's Rachel basa Rechela. In fact, I was once at a caver in Tveria. Well, they claim it's the caver of Rachel Eshes Rabbi Akiva. So the mother influences the daughter follows in her mother's footsteps. Her mother was Moisei Nefesh for Torah. It was in the genes. Now her daughter continued on the same path. Ka'ivdei ima, just like the mother does. Ka'ivdei barta, likewise, are the deeds of the daughter. Rav Yosef, Breda Rav, that was his name. Shad re'avuhi lebei Rav. His father sent him off to the yeshiva, l'kamed Rav Yosef, to learn Torah. Paskulei shiz shni. So they had concluded that he goes out for 6 years and then comes back to his wife. When 3 years were up, Mata Mala Yom Kippur. Erev Yom Kippur comes along, and for some reason decided, you know what, let me take a break, I'll go back home. Amar, he says, Ezel v'chzinu, let me go and visit and see L'inshi Beisi, my family members. Shama Avua. So his father hears that he's coming. Shakal Money takes some sort of utensil, Rashi says, like a weapon, to challenge his son, to threaten his son. He goes and challenges him. What are you doing back home? You're meant to be in the yeshiva. my wife's grandfather, his name was Rabbi Yaakov Moshe Magid, just nifter a little while ago. So he used to always say how he was safe from the Nazis. He used to always say over the story how he was a young boy and he was learning in Mir Yeshiva in Poland, and he had come home right before the war started. And there was a whole back and forth. They were in a dilemma. Should he go back to the yeshiva, or, it's wartime, things are uncertain. His mother wanted him to stay home. Go back and forth, debating the issue, and finally his father says, look, turns to his son, he says, I'll say it in Yiddish, Dein ort is in the yeshiva. Your place is in the yeshiva. You belong in the yeshiva. A yeshiva bacher, go back to yeshiva. Whatever will happen with the yeshiva will happen with you. Vas v'daim with the yeshiva, v'daim with dir. And it turns out that he went back to Mir, ubi mesiras nefesh. His parents let him go. Right before the war started, he went back to yeshiva. He joined the yeshiva, and he was the only survivor of his entire family, because he joined the yeshiva through in their travels through Russia, Japan, Shanghai. Eventually, he came and emigrated to Canada. But a yeshiva bacher belonged in the yeshiva. You belong in the yeshiva. Whatever will happen with the yeshiva will happen with you. Your fates are intertwined. So his father tells him, what are you doing back here? You meant to be in the yeshiva. Amar Le, he tells him, you've recalled your immoral woman, meaning why? What are you coming back? This is not the time. Ikadam is a different version of what he said. Amar Le, he tells him, your pigeon who is loyal to you. That's a lashon of Yenasi Samasi, Pasuk and Shir Hashirim, husband and wife are compared to a pair of pigeons. In any case, what are you doing back here? So they got into this whole agitated debate. Itrud, they were preoccupied by this interaction. Laimar ifsik, laimar ifsik. None of them had a chance to have their Sudam Afsekas, the last meal before Yom Kippur. They were so preoccupied. He didn't have ifsik and he didn't have ifsik. They just went straight to Yom Kippur without eating. Says the Mishnah, I read this al Bala. An Isha who rebels against her husband, she doesn't live up to her obligations. What do? So we start deducting from her ksuba payment. Shiva dinaran b'Shabbos. For every week of this behavior, we deduct 7 dinar. Rabbi Yehuda Shiva tar peikin, 7 of these tar peikin coins. Ad masayu peichas. How much can you deduct? Ad keneged ksubas, until you're done with the entire ksuba. Rabbi Yehuda lo elamu peichas vayich. You can keep on deducting. Ad sheim tipa lo yerusha b'makom acher goyva himeno. What's the point of deducting further? Because let's say she inherits something from her father's family that becomes hers, and now the husband can take that as well. So you can keep on counting and deducting for such an eventuality. Likewise, if the husband is being unfair and not living up to his obligations, what do we do now? We add 3 dinar per week to her ksuba. Different type of coin. Says the Gemara, the Isha is rebelling. In what manner? What do you mean she's not living up to her obligations? What obligations are we speaking about? We have a machlekes. Ravuna Amar mitashmish. She refuses to interact with her husband physically. Mitashmish shamita. Rabbi Yehuda Amar mimalach. An Isha typically earns some income. In this case, she refuses to do any work. Now let's go back to the Mishnah and figure out how it's going to work according to these shitas. Tzanan v'chein hamayrid al ishtay. So although the first part of the Mishnah spoke about her being mayrid, but the latter part of the Mishnah discussed his rebellious behavior. Now, bishlei melamanda amar mitashmish. This is fully understandable if mayrid is a reference to tashmish. L'chayes, that works. In the first case, she is the one making trouble. In the second case, he's the one causing the problem. But if mayredis is a reference to sitting idle, Okay, so she's not doing her part. But what about the second part of the Mishnah? He is a Morid just because he refuses to work. Why is that called a Morid? Is he committed to work for her? Yes, incorrect. We're speaking that he's wiggling out of his financial responsibilities to her. He says, look, I'm not going to feed you, I'm not going to support you. Asks the Gemara, well, if that's the case, he must divorce immediately. We don't need to start deducting and calculating. Rav tells us, a fellow who expresses this sentiment, he divorces and he issues the Kesubos right away. Why negotiate? Why deduct coins and dinners? Answers the Gemara, not so fast. But don't you need to confer with him and negotiate with him? Of course we do that. Just because he made that announcement of Eini Zan, doesn't mean we go straight to the Bezdin. So we try to work it out with him. And we negotiate, we delay, hoping that he'll turn around and retract. Okay, so we have two pshatim in Meredis. Either it means mintash v'shamita or it means mimalach. Meisve, here comes a kash. This procedure of deducting from her ksuba applies in all situations. Achas li arusa, whether she's an engaged woman who refuses to marry, or she's a married woman who refuses to engage with her husband. Afilu nida, even if she's a nida. Afilu chayla, she's unwell. Afilu shemeres yavam, she's an isha awaiting yibum. Let's drop down to the bottom line. It certainly works out if you say that Meredis is a reference to refraining from tashmish. Hainu diktani chayla. I understand why an isha who's somewhat unwell is still considered obligated in this realm. And Taisus explains, but speaking that she can still tolerate him physically, so she shouldn't be, distancing herself. But if the idea of Meredis is a reference to lack of work, well, why are you taking her to task? She's a chayla. She's unwell. Bas malachi, how could she do work? Apparently the Bryce is speaking about tashmish. Elo says, the Gemara, you're right. Mitashmish. Kuli alma loy pligi dahavi Meredis. The isha keeps a distance from her husband in this manner. All agree. Rav Huna, Rabbi Yehuda are in full agreement. That's called a Meredis. Loy pligi dahavi Meredis. Ki pligi, the question only is memalacha. She refuses to bring in that income. That's the question. Mar savar memalacha lehava Meredis. Umar savar memalacha hami havi Meredis. Rabbi Yehuda holds she refuses to live up to her financial obligations. That too is considered Meredis. Whereas Rav Huna says no. Tashmish shamita, yes. But if she says I'm not working, it's her prerogative. And Taisus explains, Rav Huna is in line with his shita back in Daf Nun Ches, and Isha could say, look, let's cancel the deal. I work and you feed me? No, I'm not working and you don't feed me. So in this case, you can't compel her. Gufa, let's go back to the Mishnah. I'm Meredis al Bala. If she is a Meredis, how much do you deduct? Shiva dinarim b'Shabbat, 7 coins a week. Rabbi Daimer, a different type of coin, Shiva tar pe'ikim. Rabbi Yiseinu chazer v'nimru, but our masters, it took account and concluded otherwise. We adopt a different system. We don't prolong the agony, we do it cut and short. We make a public announcement for weeks, consecutive weeks, one after the other. And we send her a message. Bezin sends her a message. So what's the announcement? The announcement, look, she's not conforming. So we publicize it, and we send her a personal message as well. You are meant to know. Even if you have this large ksuba, 100 mana worth, you're going to lose it soon. In all situations. I have a kash. You're applying the process even to a nida. Well, a nida, how can she engage in tashmish? Why are you holding it against her? Just because she's declaring, she's keeping away from. She can't do it anyways. Amalei says a big difference. It's a psychological difference between one and the other. Sure, if an isha's tummy, so for the time being, there's that separation. But if she's initiating it and making it a matter of principle. I'm not interested in you, and I'll never be interested in you. So then it makes it more difficult for him to bear. It's unfair. You can't compare. This is by fasting. A person who has access to food, he had bread in his basket. A person does not have access to food here as well. If it's just a temporary situation, fine. But if she's declaring this is going to be an ongoing, permanent arrangement between us, then you hold it against her, even though right now in the current situation she's anida and halachically disabled. Amar Rami Bar Chama, Ein ma'achrizin aleh elo bebati knesias u bebati midrashos. This public announcement is only done in these shuls. Amar Rava Dekanami, the wording in the Brisa indicates as such as well. L'ktani arba shabbos zachar zu. When do you make this announcement? On Shabbos. Shema Mina, it's a right that you do it in shul. Says Rashi, 4 lines from the top. Yomim she'ena shel malacha. Shabbos is a time where people are free from work. V'akol mitzuyin b'bati knesiyos u b'bati midrashos, where everybody's populating the shul and the bati medrash. So you do it in the shul, not out in the street. Amar Rami Bar Chama, pa'amayim sholchan lo mi bezdin. The bezdin sends her a double message. Achas koydem achraza, one to pre-warn her, to tell her that there's going to be an announcement going out soon. V'achas, and a second message, la'acha achraza, after the announcement was made, we tell her about it. This way, she really takes it seriously. Darash Rav Nachman Rav Chisda. How do we conclude? Halacha Rabbi Yehuda, we follow Rabbi Yehud's method, we make the announcements, and then we cut it there. Amar Rav, hi Burcha, it's inappropriate, it's incorrect. Amali Rav Nachman Yitzchak, what's wrong? My Burcha say, what's wrong with this procedure? Anu Amrisei Nialei. Actually, I was the one who told Rav Nachman Rav Chisda that we follow Rabbi Yehud's method. We make the announcements and then we send her out with a get. I told him about it. And actually I quoted in the name of a great man. Umani, who is this great source? Rabbi Yisrael Chanina. That's the method that we adopt today. We don't prolong it with these 7 coins. No, it's a 4-week deal. We make the announcements. It's a focused, concentrated effort. It doesn't work. Zaygesant. V'yu keman suffer. Now, Rava, who disagreed with this, he was going with the Mishnah's approach that we deduct, we take our time. Who was he in line with? Which Shita was that going with? Kiha. As such, the Itmar, as we learned, the Itmar Rava, Amar of Sheshes, and the name of Sheshes. So if Sheshes was the source, that what? Halacha. The halacha lamasa is, Nimlach and Bo, we negotiate with her, we take our time, hoping that she will reconsider. Rav Huna bar Yehuda Amar of Sheshes. Rav Yehuda Amar of Sheshes, he quoted of Sheshes differently. Halacha ein nimlach Bo. We don't negotiate. It's a cut and dry, expedited system. Hechi dam Meiredis. And we speak so much about Meiredis. How do we define Meiredis? Amra Meimar. The Amra. We're speaking that she is proposing as follows. The Amra, she's saying, but I really like this fellow. I want to stay on with him. I have a reason why I want to give him a hard time. You have no right to do that. Aval Amra Ma'isalai. But let's say, what happens? The Isha can say, look, he's just not for me. I'm getting repulsed from him. I'm getting disgusted from him. You can't force her to stay on with him. Like Hafinalo, you don't force her to stay on with him. You don't delay the process. She's not interested. She can't. Okay, you give her a get. She doesn't get the ksuba payment because she's compelling him to divorce. But you don't prolong the agony. Mazutra Amar, no. Kaifinala, even in this case, we delay, hoping she will reconsider. Hava Uvda, in fact, it was a story. Va'akfa Marzutra. Marzutra himself forced this woman to stay on. And what happened? If V'nafak Minei, Rabbi Chanina Masura, and Rabbi Chanina Masura was born from that relationship. Apparently, it was a good thing. V'lohi, the Gemara responds, not necessarily. Hasam siyata deshmaya. He had a special heavenly assistance to accomplish that feat, but typically we don't force an Isha to stay on with the husband if it's a situation of Ma'us alai. Kalse, the Rav Zvid. Rav Zvid's daughter-in-law, Imrida, she was married, Rashi says. It wasn't the typical rebellion, it was Ma'us alai, this type of severe situation which she couldn't tolerate him. Hava Tfisa, she was holding on to Chad Shira, one garment. So one of the garments that she had brought into the marriage was still in her possession. Yosef Amemar Mazur to Rav Ashi. So these three Amoraim were sitting together. V'Yosef Rav Gamda, Gabai, Rav Gamda was sitting with him. Yasvi v'Kamri. So the three Amoraim were sitting and discussing. Marda Hifsida Blo'iseha Kayam. An Isha who was married, she loses everything. The Kesuba, the dowry, even worn out garments. Blo'iseha, the worn out garments which are Kayam, which are still in existence, she has to leave it behind. Amunu Rav Gamda. So Rav Gamda was there. He responds to them, why are you going with that route? Mishum de Rav Zvid Gavarabba, just because the father-in-law of Zvid is an important person. Machne Fisula, you're trying to flatter him and you're ruling in his favor. How could he do that? V'amar Rav Kahana told us. Baye Rabba in fact had a shaila about this very situation. V'lei Pashat, he wasn't sure which way to go, whether she loses these garments or not. How can you just conclude with clarity in Rav Zvid's favor? Ikadami, there was a slightly different version of the story. Yasi Yukamri, the three Amoraim were sitting and discussing, and they were saying, Marda, Loyiv Sida, Loyaseh Kayam, and even a Meredes will not lose these worn out garments. Amul Rav Gamda disagreed. He says, look, why would you conclude in this manner, Mishum de Rav Zvid Gavarabu, just because the father of Zvid is a great man, important man, Afchi Sulei Ledina? You're reversing the din on him? Ilu on him? Says Rashi on top. Mishum drazvid gavar rabahu v'lo ya'ar al v'reinu machmas amnasanusay. You know that the father of Zvid is a easygoing, humble man, so you're taking advantage of him, and you're allowing the Isha to take this garment with her. Ha'amar of Kahana. Rav Kahana tells us we don't really have a conclusion on this. Rav had a shailas v'lei pasha that he didn't conclude. So you shouldn't be taking any sides. And the Gemara concludes, now we don't really have a clear-cut halacha on this. So how do we proceed? Well, it depends who's holding it. You have it, you hold it. Tafsa, so if she's holding it, it's in her possession. No, we can't take it out of her. Loy tafsa, but if it's not in her possession, we don't give it to her. One more thing. So Rashi is learning that we're speaking about a Meredes who is saying Mo'osalai. Other Rishonim learn we're speaking about a regular Meredes. We wait 12 months. Before we give the get, wait 12 months, hoping she will reconsider. And during that period of 12 months, she doesn't get any mezainis from the husband. He's not obligated to feed her. We wait and wait, hoping she will reconsider. After which we just terminate the relationship and we advise the husband to give a get. Okay, so what do we learn today? We started on a positive note with Rachel, the Tzaddikus, who created Rabbi Akiva with 24,000 Talmidim. We spoke about a Moiredes, we spoke about a Moired, so it's on her side or on his side. Either way, we negotiate, we deduct from the Ksuba, that was the Shita and the Mishnah. Shittas Rabbi Seinu is we don't prolong the agony. It's a 4-week ordeal, after which we terminate things. The Gemara tells us that an Isha was saying Mo'usalai. That's a different story. In that case, we don't give her a hard time, and we just let her go right away. The Gemara's maskana is no, we don't do it right away. We give it a 12-month trial shot, which according to Rashi is referring even to a Isha who's saying Mo'usalai. May there be much peace, shalom amongst Klal Yisrael. Tzlacha Rabbah, Mesuras.